Morning everyone, my name's Stephen Orr. On behalf of Sumitomo Rubber South Africa, I welcome you to this first episode of How Can I Help You? This project started last week during one of our online training sessions, in which we were fortunate enough to have a presentation by the motivational speaker Richard Wright. And I've included Richard's details at the end of this presentation and urge you to look him up. But Richard asked us one very simple question: how can I help you? So this got us thinking of it as an organization and ways that we can better help or serve the community at large. So for those of you that have been trolling websites looking for information on business relief schemes, you will know that this is both confusing and time consuming. So we've attempted to consolidate all this information into one comprehensive reference document. We do acknowledge that this is not all of the schemes that are currently available. However, we do urge you please to go into the websites provided and update yourself on the latest information on each of these schemes before you apply. So let's get started.
Here is a list of the funds and initiatives that we'll be focusing on today. The SMME Debt Relief Finance Scheme, the Business Growth Resilience Facility, the Tourism and Hospitality Relief Fund, the COVID-19 Black Business Fund, Agriculture Disaster Support Fund, and lastly for today, the South African Future Trust. We have kept the same format throughout the slides for consistency of reference, which includes name of initiative or scheme, total fund value, the target market, in other words, who is eligible to apply for the scheme, some of the application criteria. However, please go online and get comprehensive details. The type of relief, is it a loan or a grant? The application process, and importantly, the contact information. So please ensure that you fully understand the funding criteria, application process, and documentation required before you apply. Let's start with the Debt Relief Finance Scheme. This scheme is administered by the Department of Small Business Development and has a total fund value of 200 million rand. Its target market is all SMMEs negatively impacted by COVID-19. Your business must be CIPC registered, 100% owned by South African citizens, with a minimum of 70% of your employees being South African citizens. Priority will be given to businesses owned by women, youth, and people with disabilities. Your business must be registered and compliant with SARS and UIF. Please check the DSBD website for all necessary criteria. It will take the form of soft loan funding at prime less 5%. As we know, with the majority of SMMEs experiencing severe pressure due to loss of income, the fund is intended to keep these businesses afloat, ultimately ensuring the maximum retention of jobs. The fund will offer working capital loans, which are strictly direct costs and should be auditable. This will be for a period of 6 months starting from the 1st of April 2020. The maximum funding on offer is 500,000 Rand per SMME, which will be considered depending on the business needs and will be structured to match the SMME's recent cash flow history via your supporting documentation. Your business must be registered on the Small Business Database at https://smmesa.gov.za. Then complete the online application form and upload the supporting documentation. If you're a micro enterprise and in need of assistance to apply, please get hold of CEDA on debtrelief@ceda.org.za. We believe that this is a fantastic opportunity for SMMEs. However, please remember that this is loan funding and will have to be repaid. So please be very sure about how much money you require and build the repayments into your cash flow forecast. SMME Business Growth Resilience Facility. This fund is administered by the Department of Small Business Development and has a total fund value of 300 million rand. The target market is existing SMME businesses geared to take advantage of production and supply opportunities resulting from shortages of healthcare and related products used to combat the spread of COVID-19. Please go online for the list of essential goods. Your business must be CIPC registered, 100% owned by South African citizens, and a minimum of 70% of your employees must be South African citizens. Your business must be registered and compliant with SARS and UIF. It will take the form of loan funding at prime less 5%. The type of facility as well as the amount required will be based on the funding needs of the business. The fund will offer working capital, only direct costs, stock, bridging finance, purchase order finance, and capital equipment finance. The term of the funding will be determined by the business cash flow, and debt sculpting techniques will be utilized. So step number 1 is to register your business in the small business database at https://smmesa.gov.za. Then complete an application form and upload the supporting documentation to www.dsbd.gov.za. If you are a micro-enterprise and need assistance with your application, please get hold of CEDA at growthfund@ceda.org.za. Tourism Relief Funding. This fund is administered by the Department of Tourism. It has a total fund value of 200 million rand. The target market is all SMMEs within the tourism and hospitality industry. Your business must be CIPC registered, and it must have been registered and in operation for a period greater than 1 year. Must have a turnover of less than or equal to 2.5 million rand per annum. Your business must be registered and compliant with SARS and UIF. You will require proof of minimum wage compliance. So please check the tourism website for the comprehensive list of application criteria. The funding will take the form of once-off capped grant assistance to qualifying SMMEs in the tourism and hospitality sector to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on those sector-relevant tourism businesses that are under particular stress due to the new travel restrictions. Grant funding will be capped at 50,000 rand per entity, which can be used towards, for example, fixed costs, operating costs, supplies, and other pressure costs. Preference will be given to enterprises with the highest score in terms of the criteria which serve as the pre-qualification. A panel of experts will conduct a final evaluation in terms of functionality. So please go to www.tourism.gov.za/pages/COVID-19 Tourism Relief Fund.aspx for application criteria, or you can go to the tourism website on www.tourism.gov.za. You can email them directly on call center at tourism.gov.za or call 0860 868 747 within office hours. COVID-19 Black Business Fund. This fund is administered by the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition in partnership with the National Empowerment Fund and has a total fund value of 200 million rand. The fund target market is black-owned SMEs that have a greater than 50% black South African shareholding and management control, and is geared at supporting the funding of the manufacture of various medical supplies and the production of priority foods. So please visit the NEF website for a list of priority products as well as the application criteria and required documentation. The 200 million rand has been set aside under the COVID-19 Black Business Fund as a blended concessionary loan funding facility for SMEs that manufacture and supply identified priority products. Please note that you must have a project that falls within the funding range of 500,000 rand minimum to a maximum of 10 million rand in working capital, machinery, and equipment. In that, you will receive a 12-month payment moratorium at 0% fixed interest rate. After 12 months, a fixed interest rate of 2.5% will apply. This will be a funding term for a maximum of 60 months, 5 years, including the year of moratorium. The first drawdown must occur within 1 month of approval date. For further information and the NEF application form, please go to www.nefcorp.co.za, or you can email them directly under covidfund@nefcorp.co.za or telephone directly on 011 305 8080. Agricultural Disaster Support Fund. This fund is administered by the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development and has a total fund value of 1.2 billion rand. Targeted beneficiaries are smallholder farmers and communal producers with a turnover between 20,000 rand and 1 million rand per annum. The beneficiaries must be South African citizens that have been actively farming for a minimum of 12 months and currently in their production season or crop cycle. Valid confirmation of land tenure, ownership, title deeds, tribal resolution, etc. will be required on application. Adjudication will prioritize women, youth, and people with disabilities. The funding is a grant and voucher system not exceeding 50,000 rand per farming operation. Farmers preparing for 2020 summer season will not be supported, as the aim of the fund is to provide immediate to near-term support to smallholder farmers currently affected by COVID-19. Application forms and comprehensive details on the selection criteria and required documentation are available at www.dalrrd.gov.za. And please note that applications for funding will close on the 22nd of April 2020. The South African Future Trust. This fund is administered by an independent trust set up by government and the Oppenheimer Trust and has a total fund value of 1 billion rand. The target market is all qualifying SMMEs with an annual turnover of less than 25 million rand. Company types that can apply include sole props, partnerships, operating trusts, CCs, and Pty limiteds, and must be in good standing as at the 29th of February 2020. Your business must have been trading for a minimum period of 2 years with a good credit history and must have been directly impacted by COVID-19. This will take the form of an interest-free loan for a 5-year period to the business entity. It is exclusively for the purpose of paying permanent employees and is repayable at the end of the term on the 31st of December 2025. Please note that proceeds of the loan will be paid directly into the accounts of the participating employees. However, employees are not liable for repayment of this loan. The funding available is 750 rand weekly wage per employee for up to 15 weeks, giving a total potential value of 11,250 rand per employee, and there is no limit to the number of employees per business. The South African Future Trust have entered into partnership with the below-listed banks, so SMMEs must be an existing client of one of the partner banks, failing which you should register your interest directly with the participating bank of your choice. The partner banks include ABSA, First Rand Bank, Nedbank, and Standard Bank. Please go to the below-listed website for all the information required with regards to the qualifying criteria, application forms, and documentation required for submission.
We hope that the presentation has been of value to you, and we will continue searching for new funding opportunities as and when they arise, as well as updates for any of the existing programs. So in closing, and in keeping with Dunlop's tagline, we urge you to stay home, stay safe, and don't take the road.